Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to Meaningful Monday. Here we are, can you believe it, on the first Monday of which month are we now? February, second month of the year. So tonight, for those of you who are new, Meaningful Monday is just a free monthly webinar on the first Monday of every month. And tonight I'm going to be sharing some insights from an absolutely outstanding book. Now I'm holding the teenage one here, but there's also an adult one, which is the red one, as you can see in the picture. They're exactly the same chapters, just the stories that the author, John Maxwell, uses between the teenage book and the adult book are just slightly different. But I'm sharing this tonight because, even though, I don't know if Rob's here with Gloria, but I know Rob sat in, there was a mastermind done on this book a year or a year and a half ago. And, we ask a parent to sit in. And I have to say, I learned so much from this book, and I've actually done a mastermind on it several times. It's just quite phenomenal. So it's just really very powerful for us, especially navigating change like the world has been the last 2 years. There's so much change, and sometimes we have real difficulties or things that don't go our way, or failures, or whatever it may be. And as the title says, sometimes you win, in life, and that's great. We feel fantastic. Our self-image is up. We're happy. We're optimistic. But of course, there are times where we don't. And there's a massive difference between successful and unsuccessful people in general when it comes to losses or failures. And this is why I want to share this tonight, because especially the adult book, John Maxwell actually published the adult book first. Some people take a lifetime to learn the golden nuggets that are in this book. And if we can learn to change our thinking and change our perspective on things, when we have difficult times and hard times, we can significantly improve our lives, as strange as that sounds. Not just learn from them, but actually improve our lives. So that's what I want to share with you tonight. If you've got any questions along the way, please feel free to ask. And if you want to comment on anything, you're welcome to either unmute your mic and speak, or just drop something in the comment section. And if I don't attend to it immediately and you want me to do that, you just unmute your mic and let me know. All right, so are you all ready to begin? Okay. So when you're losing, everything hurts. So it's very true. Every single person on the planet has some losses. And when I say loss, it doesn't have to be that you actually physically lose an item, like you can't find it, or you lose money. It could even be as significant as losing a loved one, which is really very difficult and very sad. Or it could just be that you find it difficult to cope with something, or you're finding life too challenging, or you're feeling like you can't get on top of everything and things just slip and you're not doing as well as you want to do, and that kind of brings us down. So the point I want to make up front is that just have the awareness that every single person, and if they're young people listening to this, I also want them to know that everyone has losses and mistakes and failures, and nobody likes it. Let me send some more people are joining. Just welcome to those who have just come on now. We've got a couple of people there, Yvonne, Nick, Rita, Diana. Welcome. So everyone has failures and nobody likes them. Absolutely no one likes them. The interesting thing is that we all behave so differently. If you just think about yourself and the 2 or 3 closest people around you, you'll know that each and every one of you handle a loss, a mistake, a failure slightly differently. Now, why does it hurt? Because we don't like to make mistakes. We want to succeed. We want to be winners. And it does hurt our self-esteem. It hurts our self-image. I'm just going to mute the mics for a second. Okay. If you want to unmute your mic, please do. Now, oops, pardon. Okay. So when we have losses, what can happen is we can have something happen to us and it bothers us so much and we beat ourselves up so much and we repeat and think about it and ruminate on it. And that's what actually creates us to be emotionally stuck. Or it may be that we've had a loss and it knocked us so significantly that we actually can't let go of it. We can't forget about it and move on with our life. And we stay stuck emotionally and kind of prevent ourselves from ever going in the same direction in our life again. You know, there's some people who say, I'm never ever doing that again. That's just something I'm never going to do again. And that often comes from some event that hurt them, that was some loss of some kind. It can also break us down mentally and make us feel defeated. And that's an awful feeling. If you can bounce back and get out of it, great, and move on. But if you can't, you do need tools and you do need techniques and you do need something to help you bounce back and get out of that stuck or mentally defeated place. The other thing that happens is we can become insecure, and this is really relevant for teenagers and for children. Because they haven't really learned how to process failure. And unless they are equipped with it or have a parent help them and guide them or a coach or a teacher to actually talk about it through several of them to get them to think in a certain way when it comes to losses or failures, it can have the opposite effect of helping them improve or learn. It can actually make them feel insecure and withdraw and not want to play in life as such, not want to go out there and put themselves out there just for a fear of being made a fool, looking stupid, or having that horrible, humiliated feeling repeat itself. And this is why learning these strategies on how you deal with failure is so, so important. Just welcome again to the new people. There's some more people coming on. Okay, now this is John Maxwell. He is the author of the book I'm talking about tonight, which is Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And John Maxwell says, the quality that distinguishes a successful person from an unsuccessful person is the capacity to manage disappointment and loss. So I really want to just pause on this a little bit and have you think about that in your life. And I'll speak for myself. For those of you who know me and have done a course I run called the Silver Method, which is SILVA, and when I open the course, I always share my personal story of how 12 years ago I was in the worst place of my life. I felt like I was failing. I was just getting, the more I stressed, the worse I did. And I was kind of going in a downward spiral until I was really in the worst place I'd ever been. And I actually got physically ill as a result of the stress and the anxiety. But if I look back on my life then, and I think what was going on, I think this quote that John Maxwell's got here has got a lot to do with it. I didn't think the way I think today. And I mean, I wasn't 12 or 13 years of age. I'm talking about being, 40 something years of age. So this is relevant for everybody in every age. And even if we do cope quite well with failure, we can always learn more. And the more we learn how to change our perspective around it, which I'm going to share some of it tonight with you, I'm going to take basically 3 chapters out of this book and share them. We actually get better at it. And when we get better at it, it becomes almost like life becomes a fun and adventurous experience because we actually embrace failure. We actually embrace losses. And when I say embrace, I'm not like, I can't wait to fail or make a mistake. It's not that. It's that we start to really feel empowered about our systematic approach to when things go wrong. And as I said, the different kinds of losses. You could actually lose a game, lose a race, lose money, lose a partner, lose friendships, or you could just fail at something and not succeed that was really meaningful to you. And either way, there is a way that you can deal with it in a systematic approach that helps you. All right. So losses create traps. And when I say traps, they are thinking traps. I'd like you to go onto the chat box or unmute your mics and just share with me, what do you think some of these traps are? There are about 10 or 12 here that I have. Just what do you think can happen if we have losses what kind of reactions do we have that can be mistakes on the way we think? They can kind of hold us back, block us from future success, just because we're thinking in a certain way when there is a choice to think in a completely different way and not experience these traps to keep us stuck. Any guesses? Anyone?
Loss of confidence.
That's right. Absolutely. Loss of confidence. And then what would happen to us if we lost confidence? How would we deal with things in front of us that we like going forward in life?
You don't go forward, you get stuck.
That's right. You get stuck. And you would, if opportunities came, you'd probably deal with it differently, wouldn't you say? Just really, really cautious. Stop trying. That's a big one. Yeah. Stop trying is definitely, that's from Michelle. So thank you to Christine and Michelle. Yep. What else do we do when we have losses that hold us back? The kind of mental traps we keep ourselves in.
Insecurities, you lose motivation also to move forward.
Yes. Okay. There's two there you've put in there. There's insecurity, definitely, and a person who's insecure really won't use their potential. They'll just hold themselves back. And what is the other one you said, Rob?
Your motivation to just move forward.
That's right. You'll lose motivation. Absolutely. And it'll happen what Michelle said. With the lack of motivation, we actually try less things. We play really small in life. We stay right between, the lanes and be overly cautious and overly safe.
And you create a whole new belief as well. Like you create this, you'll start speaking a different language. I can't, or I'm stupid, or I'm hopeless, or, and you will actually start to create a language that you then believe. And then you're creating this self-perpetuating, like a merry-go-round that you can't get off.
That's so true, Michelle. And the very important thing is, when you said you create a language, it's true. It's even in the presentation tonight. The most important voice you could ever listen to is your own. So your inner dialogue really is the most powerful programming voice in your life, hands down. We think it's a teacher or a boss or someone we admire, a parent. Nothing is as strong as the dialogue of your own voice. So thank you. Yep. What else do we do? What other kind of traps do we get ourselves in when we have losses or mistakes? Any more?
We think that just because the situation is like this now, it will be like this forever. It won't change. We lose hope.
Yes, very true. We lose hope. Thank you, Yvonne. Welcome to tonight. I didn't greet you earlier. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's very true. Yeah. And that thing about thinking it's permanent or it's going to remain or this is me or I'm a failure can be very damaging. We see it as permanent. Yeah, that's definitely true. Any others?
What about anxiety? Does it create anxiety?
Absolutely it does. It happened to me. So it's very true. And then if you have anxiety, what do you think? How do you think that holds us back?
Well, you're not going to take risks.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to take risks. We're going to do way, way, way less. It means that we'll actually only do what we are guaranteed to succeed in, which means we have to have done it before with a proof point. I've done it. I know I can do it, and I'll only do that. So life is not like that. Look how many new things you do every day. There's something. And especially if you're out there in the world, newness is important. And if you think of even 2020 and 2021, how much was different? How much was changing? How much was new? How much was what we've never experienced before? So all those kind of things really, really become scary. So if you think you have anxiety from your loss, can you imagine how more anxious you become as life changes around you when you can't control it. So thanks, Christina. Any others? Yes, no, maybe. All right, let's see what we got in the presentation. Right, so we have these traps. The one is the mistake trap. That's the fear of making a mistake. We don't like it. It damages our self-esteem. It knocks our self-confidence, and we just don't want to do that again. So it holds us back. We won't try new things. We spoke about that. Won't put yourself out there. You'll experience a very, very shallow kind of life. The other one is the fatigue trap. You all know that. I've experienced that in my story, talking about 12 years ago. Boy, was I fatigued. I was actually, to be honest, exhausted, and it was adrenal fatigue. And it's just from being so afraid to fail that you can't perform. And if you can't perform, you're so terrified of the results that you're having, and it just gets worse and worse. And you really just get this feeling of being worn out. The other one is the comparison trap. If you're making notes, you maybe want to write this down. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you've got children, teach them that saying. Comparison is the thief of joy. We should never compare ourselves to someone else. Only compare yourself to the person that you were yesterday. Are you improving against yourself? And the truth is, there's always going to be someone, always, better than you in some area and worse than you in some area. You're going to be better than someone somehow and worse than someone else somehow. So, just accept that. And knowing that comparison is really going to just really make us feel even worse. Just a reminder that don't do that. Just look at yourself, only yourself, and see how can you improve. We don't want to feel inferior because that breaks our self-esteem. All right, the other traps are the timing trap. So you make a mistake, you're not too sure when to act, you hold yourself back, you hesitate, you miss great opportunities, you're about to act, you hesitate, you hold yourself back, you miss more great opportunities. I see this really often I also help people invest in property. The first time I meet them, they may have had an investment property in their life that did not do well, and it's hurt them or affected them so badly that they have a really great opportunity with everything that ticks every box, and they hesitate. Then they miss out on it, and they think, oh, well, and then that particular opportunity is gone. Then there's another opportunity, and then they think about that for another week or two or month, and they don't act. I've had people come to my property seminar sometimes 4 or 5 times and haven't taken action. And the very first discussion on the very first property, they will look at it a year or 2 later. The property's gone up in value by 80,000, maybe even more. And it's just a missed opportunity because they hesitated. So if they took the loss they had on the first experience and had a way to dissect it, learn from it, and improve as a result, they wouldn't have that feeling of hesitation, which means they're open, ready, and mentally prepared to act on another opportunity and actually be a winner in life, as opposed to someone who just doesn't play the game and stands on the sidelines of life watching opportunities go by. The other one is the inspiration trap. Someone mentioned to be demotivated. And also then the rationalization trap, how we talk to ourselves, and this is often where we come up with blame. So, I didn't do it because this was wrong, or I never had the tools, or look what that person made me do, or, that person had an argument with me and upset me that day, and that's why I couldn't think properly, and that's been wrong. So it's really about blame, and we rationalize it instead of taking a different approach where we're looking at ourselves and ourselves only and seeing what we can do to improve ourselves. These are other traps. The perfection trap. You guys spoke about it earlier when you were talking, about not wanting to make mistakes or having anxiety, or just, thinking if I'm going to do this again, it has to be perfect. And I don't know what I did wrong there, but it should have been this way and it should have been that way. So we've got regret of the past, and we overly cautious about the future. And I just want to say this. I don't know what you think of the term perfectionist, but would anybody like to tell me if you think having a perfectionist nature is a good thing or a bad thing, and why? Just tell me what your thoughts are. Is a perfectionist nature a good thing or bad thing, and why? Anyone? Go, Michelle.
I'm glad I'm not a perfectionist, and I say quite proudly I'm not a perfectionist, because it can, or I've seen it with people who are perfectionists, it definitely stunts their progress. They let perfection get in the way of progress, and you know, if something doesn't go to exact plan, that's the end of it. They just drop it. That's it. Project over. So I think to be a perfectionist, it can be a hindrance to your life.
100%. Couldn't have said it better. Exactly. And the other thing about a perfectionist nature, it's actually a form of procrastination. Because many people don't actually act until they know this thing's going to be perfect, or they take so long to complete something when they could have done 5 things and learned 5 lessons to become improved, better, more advanced, more skilled, more experienced, more knowledgeable, and they haven't. So it just slows you down. Then the fairness trap, thinking, you know, why me? It's not fair. Life's not fair. That's another one. Oh, there it is again. Then the public opinion trap, really worried about what other people are going to think of you, feeling humiliated, which is a terrible, terrible emotion, probably one of the most damaging. And then the self-image trap, also very dangerous, because our self-image determines our results. If you want to know what your self-image is, just look at your results, or anyone for that matter. Our self-image is reflected in everything of our lives, the quality of our relationships, how much money we earn, the success that we have. Self-image is huge, because it's like a lid on you. It's like a cap. And no matter what you're trying to do with your actions, that cap is a ceiling, and you'll hit that lid every time. That's your self-image. So if your self-image is a 5 out of 10, you really can't perform a 6, 7, 8 out of 10. You can only go up to a maximum of 5 out of 10. So self-image is really, really important. All right, so from a loss, we really do have a choice, you know. As we said earlier, the most important person you will ever talk to is yourself. Thanks for sharing that. So really be careful what you say to yourself. And also the most important person you will evaluate is yourself. So when you're evaluating, be very, very careful what you think. Are they damaging thoughts, or are they encouraging thoughts? The best way I can put this into perspective is, if you have kids, you can relate to this very easily. Even if you don't have kids, if you thought of a 4-year-old that was in your trusted care, if they didn't get everything right, would you beat them up and criticize them? You'd never do that. You'd encourage them. Why is it that we don't do that with ourselves? Because each and every one of us, no matter your age, has also an inner child in you still. It's just part of your psychology. You have a part of you that is still an inner child. And when we talk to ourselves negatively, we criticize ourselves, and it's very damaging. And that's like, when you evaluate yourself, always think about the way you speak to yourself, and encourage yourself like you would any 4-year-old child. And then the most important person you will love is yourself. The quality of your relationships is a reflection of the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. And self-love is actually an active process a person can work on. And I believe everybody should. If anybody wants a free resource, you can just Google, or you can let me know, either text me or put in the chat box. Louise Hay, I love Louise Hay. She had something called the 21-day Loving Yourself Mirror Work course. And the PDF for that course is free. The book's about $15. The online video course is $120, but the PDF is free online. And it's 21 days, and you actually speak to yourself looking in your own eyes in the mirror, because when you do that, you talk straight to your subconscious mind. And I have seen with coaching clients, and I kid you not, people who were in the most terrible self-sabotaging type of behavior literally turn their life around in 1 to 2 weeks, and incrementally get better and better and better, as if they like slowly compounding success from doing mirror work. And for myself, I do Louise Hay's 21-day mirror work at least once a year, most often twice a year. And if you hang around with me long enough, I'll get you to do that too. Because we do need to continuously build our self-love. Otherwise, how do we actually increase our personal value and the value of our relationships, our spirituality, our fun, our health, our money? Everything is related to that relationship with ourselves. So again, everything leads back to it's a you and you deal. And here we go. Each time you judge yourself, you break your own heart. Absolutely. And why would anybody want to do that? All right. So turning losses into a gain. So a loss is really only a total loss if you learn nothing from it. And that might sound obvious. However, it's not that obvious to most people. Just think about it. How many people do you know that actually repeat bad behaviors over and over and over, and you shake your head, wondering why the person has continuous such bad luck or such bad choices, or it's one and one thing only. They didn't learn anything from the experience they had. This is most prevalent in relationships. You may know someone who's been in an abusive relationship, and if they haven't learned from it, you'll see them go into another relationship of exactly the same quality. And if they didn't learn it then, they'll have it again. And they can take themselves with them wherever they go. They'll keep repeating that. So don't take for granted that everyone learns from their experience. They don't. It's an intentional choice we have to make, and it only comes from a system, a systematic way of thinking and being aware of losses, failures. Every time you have negative emotion, how are you thinking? What are you saying to yourself? How are you dealing with it? What are the process steps that you're actually going through? So my question is to anyone, please tell me the answer. What does it take to learn? If you have losses in life, mistakes and failures, what quality does it take for you to learn? You need a certain quality. It's one of the chapters in the book.
Self-reflection, maybe?
So that's a method, yep. But what is a human quality, a personality trait, a quality of our personality? What quality do we need to learn?
Is it growth mindset?
Yes, it is a growth mindset, which comes from, that is correct. It comes from a attitude of what?
Resilience?
Yes, resilience is, but to actually learn. So resilience, a person might be resilient and get through tough times, but to actually learn from the tough times is another quality.
Gratitude.
Gratitude, I would say, is definitely part of that. But being open to learning and having gratitude is another quality first and foremost. Starts with an H. Any guesses?
Humanity.
Humanity.
Yeah.
It sounds like humanity, but it's not that word.
It's humility.
Thank you, Rob. It's, yep, you are correct.
What is
It's
it?
humility. So
Yeah.
humility is the spirit of learning. If you want to make notes, that's what it is. It's the spirit of learning. And how do you know this is true? Because look at a person that you may know that are the opposite of humble. They are what? Arrogant. Arrogant people know everything. You can't teach them anything. You'll tell them anything. Say, oh, I know. You try, oh, I know. They know everything, so much so that they actually, their mind is shut closed to learning. So this is such an important quality, and all the things that someone mentioned before when they were guessing what it was are true if you have humility as a spirit of learning. So, being prideful, which is like arrogant, is what blocks us. And there's a saying that says pride goes before a fall. Have you heard that before? And we all know that. I don't know if any of you have a certain sport that you've engaged in, whether it's still now or when you were at school or younger. And if you ever got the feeling of being overly confident, like you'd really try really hard, you'd play really well, you start succeeding, and you get this feeling of overconfidence, and then bam, something goes wrong and it'll take you down. It generally comes from pride. So humility is the quality that keeps us with a teachable spirit, always able to learn. And pride is concerned with who is right, where humility is concerned with what is right. And what is right is really taking the lesson out of a failure and out of a loss and making it into something valuable to actually improve your life. And people who don't have humility and are prideful, what do? We know people like this. They blame. It's always someone else's fault. Always. It's the economy's fault, the government's fault, the tax system, the mother-in-law, the kid, the friend, whoever it is. Or they deny. They're in a state of denial. They can't see where they could themselves improve, or they're very closed-minded or very rigid, or, as we mentioned earlier, insecure, always defending themselves. Or when something goes wrong and they fail, they tend to isolate themselves. So we know any of those things on the screen there, any of them, if you got that going on, you can't be in a learning spirit. You can't be learning anything. And you can have an experience that can be a loss, it can be a failure, and you'll have nothing valuable as a result of that experience, except a lot of negativity, potentially even resentment, for the rest of your life going forward, if you don't have the awareness that those prideful qualities do nothing for a person, and humility and a process to learn is the most valuable thing. It'll absolutely change your life and improve you and your results significantly time and time again. So good to great is where we want to go. If we're good today in whatever we're doing, with all the failures that are ahead of us, and trust me, there are failures ahead for everyone, me, you, the whole world, everybody fails, no one's excluded here. It's just this absolute certainty that from today going forward, you, through all the failures possible that are in front of you, you're actually going to become greater than you are. Isn't that fantastic? Of course it's fantastic. Is it possible? Yes, it is. How? Just with the change of awareness and the way that we think. I like this quote: a failure is a man who has blundered, but is not able to cash in on the experience. So when you can't find value in the experience of failure, then you have failed. And that's damaging. And that also, the same as learning can compound and make you great, well, not learning from failures can also compound and make you shrink and shrink and shrink, and your results will get worse and your self-image will get worse, and it's just really not a good place to be, and a sad thing where the opportunities are massive if you just see this through different eyes. So the whole purpose for having failures, for having mistakes, is the opportunity for us to actually learn something and improve. Improve two things: ourselves, and if we improve, our results improve automatically. We actually cannot expect our results to improve if we personally don't improve. So sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. The focus of that is learning to actually improve and get better. So when things go wrong, so I've done a mastermind on this book several times over the years, and I really love doing it with teenagers. They're very honest, they're very open, maybe not initially, but by the second week, third week, they definitely open up and share everything. And them, as well as adults, always admit that when something goes wrong and they have a really bad experience or feel embarrassed or humiliated by something, whether it's at school, at sport, with friends, blowing up and having a temper tantrum, or just, a short fuse kind of emotional blow up, was what I found not uncommon. It was actually quite a common thing. Or if the person was a different personality and quieter, it'd be the other side of it, where you cover up things. Or to retreat and to back up. the worst of all, I think, is to give up, because then you become kind of hopeless. You don't want to try that thing again. You don't want to go for that thing again. Instead of really taking that as a very valuable learning experience. So improving yourself, as I said, is the first step. It's first yourself that improves, and then it's your results. And once you improve yourself, then everything, and I mean everything in your life, will improve. So improving yourself is the first step. John Maxwell always says, in your life, it's more important that you are growth focused rather than goal focused. And I think it was Laura Silver that was sitting in an airplane one day speaking to a stranger who had the seat next to her. And after chatting with a guy, he was in his 70s, and she was asking him about his life. And she was quite surprised that he was very open about the fact that he'd achieved any goal he'd ever set for himself. He was a multimillionaire. He had many successful companies. He achieved every goal he'd ever set for himself. And he said, you know what? I'm really not happy. And she said, how can that be? You're not happy if you've achieved so much? He said, I don't know. But I kept thinking I should have another goal. And then when I place another goal, I would achieve it. And I think, is that it? Almost like an anticlimax. And that is a syndrome that comes from being overly goal focused. If you want your life to be a valuable, meaningful, wonderful experience, excuse me, then don't be as much goal focused as you are growth focused, because growth says I'm always trying to improve myself, and also with the mindset to improve the life of others, being outward focused. Once you have yourself achieving success, what then? It doesn't mean anything if you don't have a purpose to improve the lives of other people. Somehow, some way, your success must eventually spill out and add value to others. And you don't have to achieve success, by the way, before you start adding value to others. You could actually start adding value to others immediately, and you'll find you will become fulfilled. You'll really become happy inside. So the capacity to develop and improve is actually what distinguishes leaders from followers, always wanting to learn. And, I must just say, John Maxwell, who wrote this book, he's the world's #1 authority or guru on leadership. He's published more leadership books in his life than all others, like best-selling leadership books, and all others in the world combined. You might know books like The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, or Developing the Leader Within You, or Developing the Leaders Around You. He's written over 100 books. And when John gets up on the stage and talks, I've heard him many times saying, at this age now, he's in his 70s, he says, I've got so much to learn about leadership. And that really is every day waking up with a beginner's mindset, a spirit of humility, a teachable spirit, and having the capacity to develop and improve. And that's why he's such a great leader. He's always open to learning from everybody. So I think that is a big distinguishing factor, and it kind of fits together. If you want to, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. If you want to learn, you've got to have humility, and you've got to see every single thing in your life as an opportunity to improve, not just learn, because actually the definition of learning is not the knowledge that you have that you can regurgitate. The definition of learning is a change in behavior. That's why I'll go back to the example of a bad relationship. If you have a bad relationship or being abused in a relationship, you can learn it intellectually and actually get up and talk in front of 1,000 people and tell them, you shouldn't allow yourself to be abused in a relationship. You should have boundaries. You should have your self-worth and all those things. But it doesn't mean they've learned it until they can demonstrate that in action and not repeat that kind of relationship ever again. So it's really important that we take learning, apply it, and that's when we have true improvement, which is the bonus or the reason why we want to learn. So as we all know, there's a comfort zone, and then there's a place where we're out the comfort zone, which is kind of uncomfortable at times, and that's the learning zone. So just for everyone to think about yourselves, when it comes to learning and improving, you're going to be outside of your comfort zone. And I want to tell you this, if you want to really learn and improve your life, you don't really need to go and find literature or great authorities on the subject to help you with it. You just need the curriculum of your own life circumstances. So take your own life right now, excuse me, and look at any area that you don't think is fantastic, that really you just feel it could be better. And that right there is the best curriculum for growth. It is in that right now, the circumstances of your life, where you can then say, okay, here's an opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone, change my mindset and my perception on things, and actually change me. And if I change me and improve me, you can improve the situation. So improvement does require us to get out of our comfort zone. And if we don't take that next step, we actually remain frozen. We'll be stuck. And especially if we had a massive loss, many people get stuck in fear. They just won't try that same thing again. And trying to remain in a safe zone is what we think is security. I have to tell you, it's not security. It's an illusion. It's perceived security, but it's absolutely not security, because you are making yourself more and more vulnerable if you don't get out your comfort zone. So I love that line there that says, fail as fast as you can. Give it a go. Be open to learning and embrace failure and say, right, because there's a system in this book on how you actually ask yourself a series of questions when things go wrong, like what went wrong? How did it go wrong? When did it go wrong? What is the role I played in this thing going wrong? What would I do differently next time? What can I learn from it to improve? As you go through a kind of self-check reflection, which Michelle said in the beginning about reflection, that's where you get all the nuggets of gold out to improve your life. So if you've got that mindset and knowing if I do that, I'm actually going to improve myself and I'm going to get better at life, have better results and become a greater success, of course you'll have a different mindset about failure. And this is why at the end of this mastermind, I'm just letting people know, I'm offering a mastermind to teenagers next. So I'm looking to help them. They really need it the most, because if they don't know how to handle failure, being bruised, being humiliated or embarrassed in some way, and come out better at the end of it, all they do is damage their self-esteem. And that is very dangerous, because the world becomes smaller and smaller. So I just want to say to anyone here, think about yourselves and your own results, or your children, and try and get the mindset that mediocre or being average has got to be your greatest fear. What is average? Who wants to be average? Average is nothing. Average is the comfort zone, and if you stay average for long enough, my view is you'll probably go backwards. You've got infinite potential. You have the capacity to learn more than you can ever begin to imagine, and just with the mindset that you're going to continuously improve yourself through all your life circumstances and take every difficulty that you have and turn it into a learning opportunity through a different way of thinking, you will never be mediocre and you will never be average. You will always strive through growth, having a growth mindset, to become what I call the grandest version of yourself. And that's what we should all be aspiring to, because we've been gifted with talents and gifts and this wonderful life. And I think our gift back to our Creator would be to use all of our potential, become the best version of ourselves that we could possibly be. So improvement is not satisfied with quick fixes. Improvement and improving ourselves is about growth. And sometimes it's harder, depending on what stumbling block we've had, and sometimes it's easier. But we're really not looking for a quick fix. We're looking to become better characters. Someone mentioned resilience earlier. That's what we want to be. We want to become better at coping with life, with change, with failure, with disaster, with tragedy. We want to also be able to learn from successes as well as failures. That's something else. So this thing called destination disease, I love the term, doing just enough to get by. And a person who's got destination disease is a person who's not willing to learn anymore. They don't have a humble spirit. They're probably full of pride or arrogance. And they've kind of got this, I've arrived, I've made it here. Sad to say, I witnessed this when I was still in corporate with the main board of directors. There was an opportunity for them to opt in to do a leadership development course at no cost, a fantastic course, and some of them turned it down, and it was that destination disease. They're really main board directors. They had the feeling they've arrived and they've got nothing to learn. Let me just give you my opinion on that, and I hope I don't offend anyone. But if anyone thinks that they've got nothing to learn in the area of leadership, I have to say, think again. Because John Maxwell, who's the authority on leadership, is a man who's continuously striving to learn. Leadership is influence. It's about adding value to people. It's about having a heart of servanthood. It's about being able to create positive change. Our world needs good leaders now more than ever before, whether it's just in your home, just in your workplace, just in your community, or really with a big mind and big dreams to influence a large number of people. We need good leadership. So just because a person had a title, there's no way that they don't need to learn anything about leadership. And that kind of mindset comes from what I call destination disease. Also, some have so lowered their expectations that they achieve mediocrity, and they actually think that is a form of success, which it definitely isn't. It's just getting by and thinking that you're okay being under the radar like that. And then improvement definitely is a series of small steps. And I always remind myself and others of that it's a series of small steps. And sometimes people are looking for the step change where you go from, just from here to right up there overnight, some big transformation. Yes, sometimes that happens, but generally it's this, and this is the best example I can give. If you were studying a book on leadership or reading about it, or maybe even this book, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And if you only improved by 1% a week, that's it. 1% only of behavioral change, thinking, a change in thinking, a change in attitude, a change in self-love, a change in how you treat others, a change in respecting your own boundaries, others, whatever it may be, learning from your mistakes, just 1% a week. Think about it. In a year, you would change by 50%. That is absolutely worth doing. Now, some people who don't have a growth mindset are resistant to change or have destination disease. They don't want to learn anything at all. And even if you gave them the opportunity to grow by 50% and improve themselves, it's like, that's too big, it's too hard. So always dummy it down and just tell yourself a little bit of improvement, especially in your mindset, just a little bit every day, over time, will make you great. Honestly, great. It's just that little bit of change every day. Okay, and improving is a daily commitment. It's what we do daily. It's the small micro habits a day. So a micro habit is a micro habit. And if you want a great book, I can recommend Atomic Habits. Just if you want to improve your life in an area that you know that you're not that great in, maybe you procrastinate, maybe you got some negative thinking, maybe you got a short temper, whatever it is, just create a small change, but do it every single day with intention and awareness. Then you have a habit of incremental improvement. Over time, as I said, you'll become great. So don't think of one event that's going to completely, be a radical change for your life. And it's got to be intentional. No one actually just becomes great by accident. I don't know anyone who said, I've reached this amazing level of success. I've got no idea how I got here. I just woke up one day and there I was. I had everything. It's never like that. It's always lots of failures, tough times, resilience, really, having the grit to see it through. So I think in simple terms, if you just had any failure or anything go wrong, any upset, any negative experience whatsoever, just ask, what did I learn? How did I grow from this thing? And what will you do differently? Now, I have a suggestion for everyone, which I'd love you to adopt if you could. I don't have one here. Have a gratitude journal. I do gratitude journaling every day, every single day. I do it at night. And one thing I always want to know is, like, reflect on my day. So just what were the main things that stood out for me? And then the question I ask is, so what did I learn today from those experiences? What did I learn? Because life is a series of experiences, thousands of them. But they're only experiences with zero value unless we find something to learn from them. And we can learn from every experience, both successes and failures. So just every day, if you're going to journal every day, make sure you put those questions down. What did I learn today? And if you practice this, again, as a micro habit, you would start to think like that, and you would actually start to proactively, without even realizing it, look at every day with what's going on with you as a learning experience. You'd meet people, you would have slightly different conversations and end up asking more questions and listening more because you're always in a state of wanting to learn. And that's growth. And the biggest demonstration of that growth and learning is the last question. What will I do differently? And no matter what it is that you're doing in life, no matter what your craft is, what your occupation is, if you can answer that question, what will I do differently from what I learned? I'm going to say this, it will be the greatest personal development course you'll ever find in your entire lifetime, would be that. To reflect and know what you do differently and actually carry it through. So plan, reflect, and what would you do differently? Then, of course, adversity is what we call the catalyst of learning. So anyone want to give me a definition of catalyst?
The accelerator or the beginning.
That's right. The thing that begins the thing, like starts it off. So in a chemistry lab, you'd have two chemicals, and then you'd add a catalyst, and then the chemical reaction would happen. So when we look at life through this lens and say adversity is a catalyst of learning, don't you think people that you know that are struggling with things in general in their life, just struggling, if they had that as a massive sign that they would look at every day and keep that top of mind, how their life would improve, how the quality of their life would improve, and their optimism, their positivity, they would just be happier in general because we look at life through a different lens. So adversity, even the death of a loved one, which is a very difficult thing to deal with, has a learning lesson in there. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's a personal mantra of mine, and I recommend someone even takes a photo of this, learns it off by heart, and says it every day. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Isn't that phenomenal? An equal or greater. And I'm telling you, this is absolutely true. My personal example of this is I lost my younger brother, who was just 21, in 2012. And for me, that was my greatest heartache. It was the hardest thing I ever had to come to accept. And he was so young and such a beautiful person and just such a tragedy at the time. And if I read that quote then, I would have said, you got 10 heads. That's ridiculous. How can that be any benefit, equal or greater? But you know, it was absolutely true. I can say that now in hindsight. I maybe couldn't say it right then and there when it happened. But his death caused me to reflect on my own life, take stock on my own life, brought me to that crossroads. I questioned everything. What's my life about? What's my life purpose? What am I doing with my life? Is this my best life? I was in corporate back then. And I came to this massive awakening that I'm just wasting my life in a corporate wheel. And I wasn't fulfilled, and I didn't know what my purpose was. And when I really thought about it, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I couldn't get that answer initially. But all I knew was somehow, some way, I wanted my life to actually matter. I wanted it to mean something. And that got me on a journey that opened up my mind, my opportunities, my awareness. And slowly but surely, I ended up finding what I'm doing today, left corporate after 20 years. And now I really am living what I passionately love to do: training, speaking, coaching, selling investment property. I also love. And I have to say, living what I call my personal best life, really happy. And if I look back, if my brother never passed on in 2012, I don't know if I would have ever come to that point and taken such dramatic action with courage. I would have probably been uncourageous, fearful of that illusion of security, and stayed in a job that was a soulless thing for me. And you know what? I would have probably sat on my deathbed one day and regretted it. And that's why this quote is very true. And if we can just see adversity as that catalyst to learn something that will actually give us an equal or greater benefit, your life will change in the most profound and valuable way. So transformation is the discovery of value. To transform the tragic death of a loved one is to find the value out of that experience. And there is always, always value in every experience, including death of a loved one. As strange as that sounds, it is true. Okay, so how do you respond to adversity? Are you a vegetable or an egg? What does that mean? You might have seen this before. You can put either of these two things into hot water. One becomes soft, real softy, mush it up. The other one becomes harder and harder and harder. If you boil an egg very, very long, you can bounce it off a wall like a rubber ball. So how do you respond to adversity? Just be really aware as to you yourself. Never let life harden you and make you resentful. And also don't make you so afraid that you live in a tiny little narrow lane and try so few things. Live life large, have a wonderful life, and life is meant to be fun. And when it comes to adversity, I love this quote by James Allen from the book As a Man Thinketh. Circumstance don't make the man, they reveal him to himself. And I think this really shows up in a time of sudden tragedy or sudden shock. Sorry, a sudden tragedy or sudden shock that happens that we've never experienced before. You'll find that in that split moment, you will realize that you can react or you can respond. And whatever happens with you, you come to really know who you are. There's several books written about coming to know that other half of yourself, that other version of you, which only shows up sometimes in really severe adversity, like really tough times. There's a part of you that you might have never come to know of yourself. And that's what adversity can do. So it always gives us an opportunity to express who we truly are, what we really stand for, how we handle things. I mean, you all know there can be like a kind of crisis going on. You know, let's say something caught fire, or suddenly there's water flooding the house or something, or someone got an injury. And you know, there's some people who just freak out and they just panicking and not helping at all, making things actually worse. And there's other people who are really calm, extremely focused, and just attend to the thing and just like save the day. Well, did you know that each and every one of us can choose to be the second one, no matter if you've been the first one, just with awareness and intention? Absolutely. It's not like, oh, I'm just one of those people who can't handle it. No, it's a choice. Everything is intention. Everything is about this opportunity with adversity to become who's the best version of ourselves, to become that. So lessons learned from adversity. One, there can be great profit in pain. It's just a mindset. It's a perception. Glass full, glass empty, half full, half empty, which that's the way we look at things. And there again, the saying from Wayne Dyer, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Successful people expect and plan for pain. Now, that might sound strange for some people, but we know people who are proactive tend to have better results. Adversity is either a stepping stone to better things or a tombstone to keep you buried under 6 feet of soil. Pain is not always optional, but misery is. That's absolutely true. So we're all going to experience failures. I said that in the beginning. But to stay miserable is a choice. To learn and become better from it is definitely an option, which we all have. So at the end of the day, winning isn't everything. It's not about winning. Sometimes you win, sometimes you're not about winning. We don't want to keep winning. That's not the goal. Learning is everything. Because if we learn and we apply the learning and we actually improve, you're going to win a hell of a lot more and you will become great. A great person, a great character, very resilient, and probably a great gift to the people in your life around you, and maybe, bigger than that, the world at large. So you can fail and lose, which is what sometimes we say, sometimes you win, sometimes we lose. No, never say sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Never ever say that again. Erase it from your vocabulary. Never say sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. So you can fail and lose, fail, learn, and win. So it's always our choice. All right, so the opportunity to develop character and a positive self-image, just to let you know, if it's for you, it may be. If it's not, okay, you can skip this part for yourself. But I am going to be offering a mastermind for teenagers. It's just a youth initiative. I do one every year. I'll probably only do one this year with the youth, and it's anyone between age 12 and 17. We're going to be doing the blue book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. It will be over a period of 6 weeks, and it'll be once a week. We meet for 1 hour from 7 to 8, and we actually dig deep and mastermind this together. And it does require the parent to please join, at least one parent. I know Gloria and Rob had one of their daughters do it, and I think, Rob, it was you that sat in. So just to tell you what is in the mastermind, if anyone is interested, and if you're an adult, you're welcome to join this as well. You'll learn enormously just as much. So these are the chapters we've spoken about. Number 1. Number 2 is like learning how to face reality. We know people who struggle with that, how to face reality, but that really is the foundation. And then responsibility is huge. Take personal responsibility. Without that, we can't learn anything and we cannot improve. All you'll do is spend your life as a victim and blame. Improvement we've spoken about tonight, and then hope. That's really the motivation for learning, and how to always have a mindset and optimism around hope, how to be teachable. That's about the spirit and the attitude that we have. We spoke about adversity. There's a lot more in there, but that's just skimming the top of the waves. And then how to deal with important things, problems. How to deal with them is a problem-solving formula. How to deal with bad experiences. It's about having a certain perspective and view on how we see a bad experience, and we need to dig that out and learn from it. And then, as I said to you throughout this evening, all the learning means nothing. It's just theory unless we can change our behavior. And that is the most difficult part. That's where you get out the comfort zone. That's the getting out the comfort zone part, to actually change. And that's the price of learning, because everything has a price. And to really be great in life, there's a price to pay. But the price is awesome. When you know the system and you know the opportunity that lies there, it's great. And then, of course, what does that give you? It gives you maturity. If anyone doesn't know what maturity is, or wonders what is the definition when Janine's talking now, what does that mean? Well, when I speak of maturity here, it's your emotional response to a situation. And the example is something tragic happens, someone cries, freaks out, loses it, has a dramatic outburst, blames people, has a victim mentality, is woe is me, can't get out of that hole. And someone else would be calm, take a breath, and take it completely differently. And there it is. Look for the learning. Have a process to uncover that. Have a reflection. Come out with what is the actual opportunity here to learn. What would I do differently? How would I change? And then actually do that and change. So that's what maturity is. And that is the value. That's when I say transformation is a discovery of value. So that's what the 6 weeks will uncover and dig deep. And then just to tell you just what some others have said, this is from a 16-year-old. He said, now, after doing the mastermind, when I'm faced with a problem, I evaluate it and use it as an opportunity to grow and ask myself, how can I learn from this? Do you know how rewarding it is to go through a mastermind with teenagers who never had that awareness before, and then they say it and they've learned that, and because they're in their teens, they never ever forget it. So it's actually equipping young minds with an attitude for the future and that serves them for the rest of their life. And then the 14-year-old, before doing this mastermind, I played the victim, absolutely, and I felt sorry for myself. And then to now realize that negative experiences don't define me, and I've learned not to feel sorry for myself, but actually grow and learn from them. And isn't that a way better response than the victim? And many people do grow up with a victim mentality, not because there's anything wrong with them, because they've learned that somewhere and they've witnessed that somewhere, and they've just, monkey see, monkey do, and that becomes the way they do it. And then it becomes almost a cultural thing amongst the age group. And you'll find that you'll get a group of teenagers that are highly responsible and mature, and you'll find a cluster that birds of a feather flock together, where they're all victims and full of drama. And there's a massive difference. So, this is what I love to do. So for anyone who's interested, the mastermind starts on the 27th of April. It's $4.99 per person, and the parent attends as well, and for free, to see what they're learning and to also demonstrate these qualities so that the child can look to the parent who's actually modeling the behavior. So the parent will also learn hugely. And the early bird $3.99. All right. Otherwise, the next event's coming up. For those of you who want to do the silver method, if anyone doesn't know what it is, please feel free to Google it. It's a 4-day dynamic meditation program. The founder is Jose Silva. And Silver Life and Intuition System is in February, just a few days away now. If anyone wants to join, there are some seats available. And anyone can attend from age 8 and upwards. And then at the end of March, I'm really excited for the very, very first time in Australia ever, in all of life and history, is dynamic healing coming to Australia. So I'll be bringing that to Australia, and I'm very, very excited that dynamic healing is a fantastic course. All new techniques, not from the Silver Method, they're all new. And they use a combination of the first half of the course is emotional healing, and how emotional healing is necessary for physical healing to happen, or if you did heal, how to maintain the health, because sometimes we can revert back. And then the second half is actually the application of techniques, and we use magnetic energy, human energy, electrical energy, and hands-on healing, several techniques of hands-on healing as well. So if anyone's interested, please jump on my website or contact me. It's only once this year, dynamic healing, and those are the 2 days, end of March. That's it from me. I hope you got some value out of that tonight. Otherwise, now we're going to do a quick guided meditation just for you to help get clarity on your month ahead. So if anyone hasn't done this before, please grab a pen and paper. Yes, we will answer some questions during the meditation, which is a very useful and valuable technique, because if I asked you these questions right now with your eyes open, wide awake, you'd answer me from probably your predominantly left brain hemisphere reasoning mind. But if you're in a deep relaxed state, which I'll take you through a deep relaxation first, then I ask the questions, those answers come from your predominantly right brain hemisphere, which is your intuition. So just grab a pen and paper, put it in the most comfortable position for yourself, that you're not moving when you're writing. And keep your eyes closed throughout the meditation. And when you get to the end, when I ask you just these 3 questions, what do you need to focus on for the month ahead, and what kind of steps you need to take, and things like that, just open your eyes and scribble your first impressions down, and then close your eyes again and take a deep breath and just go back into a nice relaxed state. The more relaxed you are, the better the answers you get for yourself, definitely from your higher self or your intuition. All right, so is everyone ready to go? Yep. Okay. I might stop the share. If you do have cameras, please keep your cameras on. I prefer that if you can. It just helps me navigate you. Okay. So nothing for you to do right now. You just listen to the instructions and enjoy. Take these 10-15 minutes for yourself and really just let go, relax, and enjoy. Michelle, maybe you can give me a thumbs up if the sound is okay. It's not too loud. Up.
No, that's good. It was just cutting in and out.
It does, unfortunately, with Zoom. Is it okay now?
Yeah, the volume's good. Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. So find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep belly breath. And as you exhale, just allow the tensions in your body to release and float away. Take another slow, deep breath in. And as you exhale, just feel your body relaxing. Feel the tension leaving your scalp, the top of your head, and relax your scalp. We're just going to focus on one area at a time and fractionally relax the body. So relax your forehead. Relax your eyes and the tissue surrounding your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your tongue and jaw. Relax your throat. And take another nice, deep, slow breath in. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders, arms, and hands. Take a nice, big, deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your chest. And now take a nice belly breath in your lower belly. Nice deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your abdomen. Relax your hips and pelvic area. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. Just feel and enjoy what a wonderful experience it is to be deeply relaxed. Continue to breathe slowly, deeply and rhythmically, and relax. You're now going to create in your mind your own personal ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined. It can be somewhere that you've been, or maybe somewhere that you'd like to go, and allow it to be a place where you feel totally relaxed. The image must be passive and calm, and just create that place for yourself now. And imagine yourself there in your ideal place of relaxation. And now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. You can place it wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. This light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under this white healing light. Allow the white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. It is clearing all the stress, all the tension, all the clutter of the day, not just the past week or the past month, even more than the past year. It's clearing all the stress, tension, and clutter of your lifetime from your energy field. Or from your aura. And as this beautiful white light clears your energy field, just notice how much happier you look. Notice the smile on your face. See how all the weights that you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is close your eyes, imagine your ideal place of relaxation, and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now take a deep breath, relax even deeper, and repeat these beneficial statements to yourself mentally, in your mind. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts, images, and suggestions bring me benefits I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will occasionally be speaking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. This unconditional love flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All the hurts you felt, all the pains you felt, the angry moments, just allow this green light, this unconditional love, to heal all those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. Step out of the waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You are centered. You have clarity. You can focus more easily. You are in the flow of universal love and energy. Just take a moment to bask in this feeling of connectedness now. You have now reset your body and mind for the month. It is now time to set your intention for the month ahead. I'm going to count from 10 to 1. When I reach the count of 1, you will have tuned into your own inner wisdom, your higher self, that part of you that when you tuned in, guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have now tuned in to your inner wisdom, your higher self, your intuitive self that always guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. Whilst in this relaxed state, ask yourself the following question and just write down your first impressions. Do not analyze or think anything too much. Just write down the first things that pop in your head. And then close your eyes and go back into meditation when you're done. The first question: what do I need to focus on for the month ahead? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. The next question, what steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Next question, what do I need to let go of? Just write down your first impressions. What do I need to let go of? And next question, what do I need to embrace? And the last question is there anything else? Anything else I need to know or anything else I need to do? Is there anything else? And just allow a nice deep breath in and relax. Just bring your attention back to your body. Maybe gently wiggle your fingers and toes. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. At the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3. At the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Okay. Thank you and welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy that?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep, that was good. Thank you.
Great. And I hope you all got some answers that were helpful for yourselves.
Yes.
Good. The only reminder is always trust the answers you get in a very relaxed state. They come from your intuition and act on them for sure. It's always good to get the guidance and then it's the right thing to do to act on the guidance and appreciate and value it and never take it for granted. All right, everybody. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, have a very wonderful month ahead. Lots of love and blessings to you. Thank you, Rena. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next Monday, which is the next first Monday of March.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Janine.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.